My business is going to do well over $50,000 this month in revenue, $45,000 in cash, well over $40,000 in profit. And the key reason that I've been able to do this and scale from $5,000 a month as an appointment setter back in March is because I removed a lot of limiting beliefs. Recently, I've done some calls in some setting communities and closing communities that really prompted me to want to make this video. I'm also living with my friend Mo, who is doing setter management at the moment. He was one of my old coaching clients. And we've had a lot of discussion about how your identity and how limiting beliefs really can affect you. So if you're in info, really listen up, because these are going to be some of the most poignant lessons that I've learned that have helped me scale to where I am today. So a huge limiting belief that I had when I was a setter, when I was just in general, was I can't sign clients. Like, I cannot charge 5K, I cannot charge 10K for clients. This month I've charged 7K for a setup fee twice, and I probably could have charged more and closed both of them. If you're in the position where, let me tell a story to kind of emphasize this. Back in December, I was in Marbella for the first time. I was making about 2-3K a month. And I met a 16-year-old who was closing $7,000 deals like it was like normal. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here? And his fulfillment was really good, but it didn't take up so much of his time. In my head, I was like, if someone's gonna give me $7,000, I'm gonna have to spend my whole month like doing everything I can for them. But I think you need to be able to provide a service and value enough so that that 7K setup fee is something that someone can pay and they don't bat an eyelid to. So the advantage I found with the business vehicle that I'm currently in terms of Growth Op is that I'm working with richer clients. Alex Hormozi says this all the time. You know, solve rich people problems, they pay better. I'm getting paid exponentially more for much less work because I'm solving a much bigger problem in business. And if you feel like, you know, how can I, this is another limiting belief that I had, you know, it's not possible for me to provide enough value with my current skill set to be able to charge a lot of money, charge huge rev shares and take, you know, 20% of a 100K a month business and pocket 20K every single month. It comes down to skill set, and this was something I was drilling home to these setters, these closers, and anyone looking to start a business. It all comes down to your skill set. When I was kind of starting Growth Op and landing my first clients, my skill set wasn't that good. And it took me months, even with like quite a good client, to be able to actually scale him because I didn't have the skills. I didn't know how to write a VSL. I didn't know how to build a funnel. I didn't know how to organize a CRM. I was taking all of the sales calls myself. I was in this loop of not knowing what to do. And slowly but surely I realized, okay, I actually need to improve my skills to be able to first scale this client, get an amazing case study, and then be able to use that case study to then charge these insane setup fees and make, you know, 45K a month that I'm making now. And so at the end of the day, it all comes down to skill set. And a story about this is webinars. Webinars are something that I really have a USP on with my agency. It's something that we really hammer home because I fucking love them. But I didn't know how to run them like 3-4 months ago. I had no idea. I was like, what the hell is a webinar? Like, how am I gonna run a webinar? I was looking on YouTube. And luckily, through my network, Charlie, if you're watching this, shout out to Charlie because he is the GOAT of webinars and he taught me everything that I know. And I was able to implement this for my current client. We did 120K cash collected in 72 hours and I got 12.5% of that. Can you imagine? I made $15,000 almost in 3 days. Whereas, you know, 3 months before that, that was like 3 months worth of pay for me and I made it in 3 days. But because I'd learned that skill set of webinars, I was then able to use that case study to sign more clients. You know, another client in a similar niche, we did like an 80K Webby for them. Yesterday, literally was Saturday, Saturday 29th of November, a client did a 50K day off one of our webinars. And of course, we're taking rev share on that as well. So skill set is so important. You may think that, you know, another limiting belief is that I need more experience or I need to kind of follow some sort of ladder before I start becoming a consultant, becoming someone who comes in and scales info offers. Because at the end of the day, I felt this as a setter, and I think I spoke to Mo about this too. People think that there is like a path that you need to follow, like it's some sort of corporate bullshit ladder that you get in finance or whatever it is, that you need to be a setter, then you need to be a closer, then you might need to be a manager of some sort before you learn marketing and before you can offer full stack operating to a client. But that is fundamentally untrue. I know, like, there's people in my network who have a third share of other creators' businesses and they had no experience. They came into, like, they bought kind of like a Growth Op offer. It was their first like forage into info as a business. And so to think that as a setter or a closer where you've probably worked under growth operators or you've worked in offers where, you know, there are you've seen the inside of how these businesses fundamentally operate. You understand kind of how leads come through. You understand the process. And yet you think that because of some sort of magical ladder in your head that you need to become a closer before you can do anything else. And I think closing is an amazing skill. The more skills you have, the better. I will always preach that skill set is the most important thing. But this limiting belief of like, well, I need more experience and all of that is really holding you back. Another thing that I want to touch on is detachment from the outcome and having a North Star kind of goal and aligning everything in your identity to that goal, because that in turn will remove every single limiting belief that you have. So recently I was on a call, I just on a call with another friend of mine, and pretty early on in the call he asked me like, what's my why? And it kind of took me by surprise because I hadn't really spoken to him before, but we had a really kind of deep conversation around it. And for me, why I'm like working so hard, why I'm scaling my business is because I want to buy my mum a house. We didn't have a lot of stability growing up, and it's something that I know that I won't be able to rest until I've got done. And hopefully, by the end of 2026, that goal should be accomplished, perhaps sooner, depending on how things go. But having that goal and having that North Star that I just wake up to and align myself to every single day is enough to remove all of those limiting beliefs. I have an Alchemy of Self document. I'm like, I don't want to go into like too much detail, but making sure that you have that North Star goal and you have your why front of mind. Because at the end of the day, after you've scaled to like a few K a month, you can go live in Thailand, you can live a good life, work a few hours a day, and you're chilling kind of. But at a certain point in business, it comes down to, not being selfish, because if you're selfish in business, if you're only doing it for yourself, you can get far with like the materialistic goals. Personally, I'm not a very materialistic person, but when you have someone else and another group of people that you are doing it for, like a team, for example, I've got team members now and all of that sort of stuff, that's when you can really unlock that next level of resistance and kind of difficulty that you have to go through, investing in yourself to learn more skills and that side of things, to be able to keep scaling your business. And at the end of the day, I keep saying scaling a business, but even myself now, like I barely even consider that I'm running a business, right? Because without me, everything fails. So all of you guys that are setters, closers, or doing any sort of business and are interested in what I'm doing, you've got to realize that setting and closing, whatever it is you're doing is kind of not even a business. You're a freelancer at the end of the day. And if you stop working, you're going to stop making money. So another point is leverage. Like leverage comes from higher skill sets and positioning and all of that I'm going to make some in-depth videos on soon. And some more case study breakdowns. We're doing like multiple 6-figure webbies a month, so I need to give you guys the source. But yeah, at the end of the day, you need to have that North Star goal that's driving you towards where you want to go. Because when you have that top of mind, essentially what will happen is when you get those limiting beliefs of like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. I don't think that I have enough, I need more case studies. I need more this, I need more that before I start doing what I want to do. The importance of the goal that you keep top of mind will, in my experience, kind of shred those to the side, because that North Star goal is just so important for you. And the final point that I really want to drill home, just from experience, is the cost of inaction. A lot of people tell me when I jump on calls with them, or I just hear a lot you've progressed so quick, it's so inspiring to see. But I think comfortability really can kill people. And you can get very comfortable at any stage in your journey if you're making the money that you initially set out to achieve. Like my initial goal was making 2K a month. But you've really got to keep in mind that cost of inaction. Like how much is that knowledge gap of you not being able to make 20K a month, not being able to make 30, 40, 50K a month, costing you every single month? Well, it's that amount, right? It's like the knowledge debt that a lot of people talk about. And also shifting your identity and how you can kind of overcome this procrastination, this cost of inaction. You just can't seem to take those actions that you know are going to move you towards your goal. You just don't know the actions that are going to take you towards your goal as a consultant, as an agency owner. It really just comes down to those beliefs and identity that I mentioned at the start. But when you act in accordance with the identity, let's say the version of yourself that you want to become, whatever goal you have, whether that be 30, 40K a month, like I'm doing, if you every day reaffirm that identity to yourself, I'm going to act in accordance with the person who's making 40K a month, you will very, very quickly start acting, in accordance, and that cost of inaction will disappear. So if you're struggling, with taking action, with actually working towards what you want to achieve, just focus on your identity, focus on who you are, focus on who you're becoming, because your identity forms your beliefs, and then your beliefs form your actions, and your actions form your reality. So if you want to change your reality, it all starts with the identity, and that will then lead to the beliefs, that lead to the action, that will lead to you getting to where you want to go. So yeah, my biggest advice to anyone out there who's kind of like on the fence about starting something new, or like really doubling down to scale and locking in this winter, is just do it, because your future self will thank you for it more than you could ever believe. And it's really changed my life, and I don't think I've seen the full fruits of my labor yet. So yeah, the best is yet to come.